Hello, everyone. This is, as of the time of recording this, it is 1:35 p.m. on the 25th of April, 2023. And this is the final build of Arches. This is the final story build. There might be polish later, I don't know. But this is it. This is the end of the story, and I'm feeling things about it. I wasn't feeling things until I powered it up and the music kicked in, and then I was like, oh, this is it. This is the final time that I'm going to be doing this game for the channel, and also the final story update. Being someone who's been playing this since the first update, it's definitely bittersweet. And yeah, being someone who played Echo back in 2018 when, like, I think Leo's route was still, like, coming out. I think it was close to being finished, but I'm pretty sure it was, like, coming out. I don't know. But I know that TJ and Carl's were finished because those were the first two I did. And then, yeah. I'm really interested to see where this is going to go. Because I have some... I mean... we know where it's going to go this time. It's going to go to the end of the story. And... we know that Brian's dead, and that Cam and Dev are escaping, but we also know that Cam said that something irreversible is wrong with his mind. So... yeah, let's just get into it. Load, please. Oh, jeez, December 20th. It's been a minute. He just hopes that Devin can still love him after this horrible shit. That sets the mood real nice. That sets the mood real fucking nice. So Cameron leans his head against Devin's shoulder, smiling in a mostly happy but in a bittersweet way. Alright. Alright, now let's get the hell out of here. Oh my god. How far are we skipping? Are we like skipping when they're found, or are we skipping when they're back home, or what? What's gonna happen here? Okay, we're on the road with the Dick Rock. Sorry, terrible joke for this, like, honestly quite saddening development. The terrible change comes 3 weeks later. After a flurry of hospital visits, police interviews, and even harassment from the media, things became strangely quiet. He's a broken road. We finally know his last name. Not that I wanted to be honest, but it's good to see that he's finally gone and that he's dead and he can't do this anymore and that no more people. Brian DuBois was a serial killer with a victim count in the double digits. With all of the murders taking place over the course of nearly 4 decades, that would get national attention, of course, especially since Brian appeared to be involved in the high-profile disappearance of a promising college freshman last year. Body cam footage of their dramatic rescue from the mines even made the rounds on social media for about 2 days. At the same time, a pandemic was picking up steam and media attention became focused elsewhere. That lack of attention made Cameron's recovery much easier. His burst liver and severely damaged kidney left him needing surgery in the hospital. Did whatever he could for his elbow, but his doctors were hopeful that with a lot of physical therapy he could at least use it for basic necessities. Well, it did suck to maybe never be able to bend his elbow correctly or without pain. What really devastated Cameron was the weakness and almost debilitating tingling in his fingers. Guitar was an absolute no. Fuck you, Brian. For now, okay, thank God. But what about forever? Cameron had been trying to banish that damn voice from his head. No, the negative thoughts from his head, right? Things continued to feel strange. Didn't seem to be related to his ESP. Maybe he could easily tell because he could easily tell when that was happening. Ever since the shroom trip, a haze of psychic ability I fucking still don't like that. Lingered around him, allowing him to capture thoughts and feelings seemingly at random. This fucking shit is so out of left field for Echo that I'm still having a hard time buying into it. Downloading is what some people like to call it. He didn't have much control, though. Sometimes he wasn't even able to tell if the download he was receiving was from the living or the dead. Cameron even began to try and hone his abilities and experiment with just how much he could do. Unfortunately, he figured out pretty quickly that without an illicit substance of some kind to fuel his clear, thank fuck. It was open, it was just gonna be that, because otherwise I was gonna be like, what the fuck? It was extremely hard to do. That or being in an active location. Echo was one of those locations, obviously, but there are so many others. He's a desert lake. Every now and then, Cameron would find himself pausing, like at the back door of Devin's house, as a chill would run down his spine. It always meant Echo was attached to something somewhere nearby. It's what Cameron called the beings, not exactly intelligent or even living, but entities interacted with and usually threatened the living. In that particular case, it emanated from under the back porch. When he told Devin about it, he knew immediately what Cameron was talking about. Oh yeah, I'd hear something moving under there all the time, like a person crawling around. Even Dad says he saw red eyes under there once. Being more sensitive doesn't exactly answer questions, though. Like, why is it there? Where did it come from? What the hell is it? All he knows is that it wasn't a person, and it never was a person. Because they're all demons. Well, Cameron had seen that old spark of interest in Devin's eyes. He had told Cameron just ignored and focus on their visit. Cameron can also tell that Devin just wants it to go away quietly like it never happened. All of it, including Cameron's abilities. That was the end of the second week, and over the course of his life, Cameron would look back on that visit as one of the last times they were still themselves. They? Do you mean Cameron and Dev, or just what are you talking about there? He had a trailer home in the Southwest. By the third week, Cameron was recovering at a remarkable rate, and so Devin began to pay Artie more visits and phone calls. His improvement was also rapid, but Cameron was just a little sad that Artie never asked to talk to him, but only asked Devin how the coyote was holding up. Made sense, he would tell himself. Devin and Artie go back even further than Devin and himself. Something fell off, though. But considering the circumstances, nothing was normal at that time. Actually, as the third week progressed, everything became wrong. Sometimes he'd wake up, whimpering or crying, thinking he was back in Echo. Definitive far worse, waking up in a howling panic, yelling about guns, chains, and death. Those were the times when Cameron was the main one to comfort and give support, at least as best as his patched up and sore body could manage. Now Cameron feels like a part of him is missing, like he's not fully present. It's like pieces of him litter the town of his trauma. Still feels like he's there in a way, and when that feeling really started to set in, that's when it happened. A small pressure in his right ear started to develop. It was something that he was sure had to do with the hearing loss he'd experienced from the shotgun blast. It was annoying though, and it felt bizarre. They set up another appointment with Cameron's audiologist a few weeks from then. Once the feeling began to take hold is when it happened. Fucking hearing loss was likely permanent, but it was what began to replace it that bothered the coyote the most. In the middle of the afternoon, it happened. Don't, please, please don't fucking do this. April 2020. Cameron starts working again that week. He wanted to feel useful again, and because they were both working from home now, it seemed like an okay idea. Devin didn't want him starting yet, of course, but Cameron wanted that sense of normalcy to come back, and his shitty job seemed like the perfect solution. Trying to work with mostly one paw did come as a bigger challenge than Cameron expected, not realizing how much he used his left. Typing was particularly slow, but he was getting better at managing. Still, it made him slow, and even though his boss was understanding and even told him to just forward rude customers her way, it still left him flustered in ways he wasn't used to. The rather harsh call to begin with, "Thank God, someone I can finally fucking understand," and ended with, "You know what would have been faster?" Cameron waits for the answer. "Anything. This is the last time I buy some chick-ass phone made in some..." Cameron rubs his eyes, wondering how different the interactions would be if they did video calls face to face. "But sir, this phone was assembled in the States after Julian worked with the government and my voice is his now. God damn it. But sir, this phone was assembled in the States after Julian worked with the government in 2018 to bring more jobs to our..." Fuck the... Chorus, one moment. Cameron reached the button to his boss's line. Here's the man muttering under his breath. No big deal. He would get one of those every week, and according to his co-workers, it's gotten worse since the pandemic started. But why did that one hurt his feelings so badly to the point that his eyes are welling with tears? Maybe it was because he went through hell and back, and that man had no idea. No idea. Then his computer screen seemed to stretch far away, and Cameron found himself gripping the edge of his desk like he was about to fall over. I'm finding it very hard to pause and comment because I don't want to fucking interrupt this shit. Pressure grows in his ear, and he realizes that maybe it's causing the strange feeling of being off kilter. But no, he's tripping again. It's a flashback, just a flashback. No, it's brain damage. Should probably feel like this forever. He poisoned you. You're a fucking retard. Can't handle a little customer stereotype. Just smash the keyboard. Cameron freezes a paw to his right ear. Don't tell me it's schizophrenia now. Please don't tell me. Please, for the love of fucking God, no. Cameron freezes a paw to his right ear where the voice had come from. Is his headset still on, or... No, and you can tell it's coming from inside your head, you idiot. Sorry, that looks at panic. It was followed by confusion, a ton of confusion. Thoughts make no sense. The voice that is definitely not his thoughts don't make sense, and now he doesn't understand where. Now he didn't understand where he is. The voice continues to encourage him to smash the keyboard, so he does. Just to see if it would maybe break this bizarre half-dream. Finding Cameron sobbing on the ground, surrounded by black plastic keycaps, a frantic Devin drove him to the hospital. Maybe I'll stop if you grab the wheel and turn to the median. For old time's sake. Doesn't even need a fucking fan. Look, Mom, no fit. The voice snickers. He used to laugh at him all the way to the psychiatric ward. October 2020. About 7 months after Echo and 6 months after his Echo episode, Cameron feels even worse. Voice that had wormed its way into his damaged ear had disappeared after just a few days of antipsychotic treatment, but it returned again and again every few weeks. Short asides that were sometimes mean, sometimes meaningless, and sometimes boring. Annoying ass comments about things and people Cameron sees. Feels like he's trying to remind Cameron things aren't okays. Weeks continue to come and go with manageable but clearly present psychotic symptoms. He'd worried his broken arm would stop him from being able to play music as well as he used to. Turns out he needn't have worried at all because he doesn't give a fuck anymore. Like a switch. His interest, his motivation, just his want to do anything productive or useful seemed to just turn off. Mother said she needed meth because it fought the feelings that her psychosis brought on, the later of which was of course brought on by the meth. A vicious cycle. And speaking of cycles, he finally got his diagnosis. Fuck, God damn it. God damn it. God fucking did. Schizophrenia likely induced by the trauma and drug use in Echo. Not that it really matters what induced it, because the problem is that he has it. Proplaninol for restlessness, escitalopram for depression. Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. Symptoms of schizophrenia are devastating, but so are the side effects of the antipsychotics to treat it. Side effects should be covered up with medications that cause even more side effects, where it may be more tolerable. First antipsychotic he tried made him too tired, and they finally switched him off after 4 months. Then somehow, according to his psychiatrist, the switch aggravated the dopamine in his brain or something, and for some reason, his childhood motor and vocal tics got to come back. Not just come back, but they came back with a vengeance to the point where they got especially emotional. It's like sometimes his body would go into an uncontrollable twitching fit. Made him feel like some kind of freak show in public, but when a vocal tic involving his diaphragm that he never had before his appearance, his appearance, he really started to despair, forced him to exhale for 10 to 15 seconds until he nearly blacked out. Then he would release and he would gasp in again, only for it to happen a half a dozen more times in agonizing waves. Fuck. That familiar tightening in his abdomen, signaling an approaching episode, was enough to make him whimper in dread. Because of that damn pill that was supposed to help him. 3 or 4 of those episodes every day for a week, and Definite finally had enough and found a different psychiatrist. Her psychiatrist switched him to another antipsychotic, one that she said would help his tics too. When Cameron ran himself to take the first dose, he broke down and he cried like a child. He even begged Devin not to make him take it, which just made the whole situation so much worse. What if it caused more problems to show up? Cameron read all about the horrible lifelong side effects that antipsychotics can... Fucking... I know. Yeah. Yeah, those ones. Just throw the word Tardive in front of any of those and you Have yourself a new disorder that will probably improve slightly over years but never go away. And then there's always the worry that tolerance might build, super sensitivity might set in, and dosage might need to be increased, and they might develop a treatment resistant form of schizophrenia, all from these little pills wreaking havoc on the synapses of his brain. More poison, more brain damage. Kim rubs his ears vigorously. You're the brain damage asshole. Fuck you, you. I fucking hate this. Brain damage piece of shit. Take the whole bottle. Remembering the management techniques his therapist taught him, Cameron takes a deep breath. Okay, time to take my medication. It's been a few weeks now. My tics have decreased by over half. I haven't had a breathing tick in 4 days. I feel like this is good progress. What think is... Positive symptoms have decreased by Maisie over 40% over the last week. Good progress. Just hope my negative symptoms improve as well. That's my next goal once I reach stability. Let's her zone again, and that makes Cameron feel at least a little better knowing that some things are coming easier. Begins opening his pill organizer and pulls out the most important one. Despite tolerating paliperidone, I have no idea how to pronounce that. Paliperidone, I'm guessing, much better than the last antipsychotic. It still makes those same side effects and make him need. Still causes the other meds. Lee is making his tics better, though he doubts they ever will truly go away like they did in his childhood. Tardive, Tourette's, I don't know what that is. I mean, I know what Tourette's is, I don't know what that is, though. As the noise of pills rattling against the plastic sound to the kitchen, Cameron hears Devin in his study. Oh, you taking it now? Just a sec. That was fast. Cameron has her breath, feeling just a little resentful, knowing that Devin had been listening on his thinking out loud. Cameron sighs and picks up the pill again. Dev comes in with just his underwear on. A year ago, it would have been a sight that Cameron had appreciated. He probably would have put his arms around him and rubbed his face into his chest like he used to. But his sex drive was killed months ago, either from meds or from one of the many symptoms. Is just another reminder that he's not who he used to be. Well, sex is the last thing on his mind. Cameron knows it's important in their relationship. He tried, and then he tried to pretend to enjoy it, but everything ached now, and he'd often just find himself staring at the ceiling. Devin suggested they wait until Cameron feels better, which made Cameron feel worse. Devin's libido is stronger than Cameron's was, so he knows it must be frustrating for the bear. Right now, Devin is just standing there, smiling pleasantly as he watches Cameron. Making sure you take your poison. A jolt of fear dip into unreality. Just thinking out loud, if that's what you're wondering. Okay, it does seem to act out right before you take your medication. Yeah, you know I don't need you to watch me anymore. It's quiet as Cameron swallows the pills so Devin can see, then follows it with the rest of the 5 or so medication. Right. Or do you still not trust me? I agree, but we also agree to do it for at least a year, just in case. Yeah, because you don't trust me. Spitefully, Cameron turns to show Devin the underside of his tongue, as if the bear might be suspicious he's hiding it. Cameron. Want to do a cavity search too? Hey, you know, maybe that could be our solution. I take my meds and you get to play with my ass. There feels a burst of anger from Devin, and for some reason it feels good. Kind of a fucked up thing to say. Is that what you think I even care about right now? Devin's yelling and they're in a fight. Ones they never had before Echo. For a moment, Cameron wants Devin to... punch. Okay. Not much to lose, and it... fuck up. No. Devin will never do that. Talk shit on psychology before. I acted like I knew what it was about, but like you say, everyone changes. One of those things. I want you to get better. I'm not going to get better, Devin. This is permanent. Doesn't mean you can't get better. That's the point. And then I'll relapse. Then we help you get better again. I don't even care about the stupid voice anymore, even the tics. I feel like my soul has been sucked out. I don't know if it's the meds or the crazy or just me, but I hate it. I hate it too. I hate it so much. I hate that you feel this way. It's why I'm doing this. You don't even have a fucking clue what this is like. Everyone just talks about voices and hallucinations and delusions. But about the cognitive shit, I can't think. Nothing feels real and I feel dead. You're right, I don't, but you're all I think about almost every minute of the day because I see you suffer, and I want to stop it. Probably suffering because of the meds. It's like back in college, but 10 times worse. Can't even write or listen to music anymore. I don't want to do anything. That's the main reason people relapse. Positive symptoms go away, but they think they're better. Then they try to stop their meds so the negative symptoms aren't as bad, and they relapse. You need time, a year at least, and then we can start tapering off, but not now. What if I relapse? It's only half a schizophrenic, so even if a full 10-year remission. Medical literature he was obsessed over pours out of his mouth. Then we'll try again, right? Burst of anxiety from Devon. But Cameron never thought hard on the topic. He does suppose he'd consider ending it. Don't you fucking dare. This is the rest of it. No. No, 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 no. But only if Dev isn't there to take that blow. Right. Seeing and sensing Cameron back down, Devon lowers his guard as well before opening his arms in an invitation to hug. God. Despite his sore and sensitive skin, it feels good after the burst of anger and sadness. Remember, honey, 1 week at a time. I'm just sad. I'm sad because I had such a good life with you, and it feels like it was yesterday, but now it's just gone. You always talk about the new you will have a new life. Just be a rough couple of years. Cameron senses the doubt and worry in Devon's own mind, but his hug is enough to smother it for a moment. The hardest part about that particular argument is that Devon completely empathizes with Cameron. He can't imagine being in that situation, made to take medication that changes him so fundamentally that he's not in full control of his movements or even breathing. Cody is justified in being angry, sad, childish, and sometimes outright spiteful. Doesn't mean that it isn't unsettling seeing Cody lash out and cry in ways he'd never seen him come close to before. At this point, it feels like he's watching the deconstruction, or rather destruction, of a life in real time. It leaves his stomach feeling hollow and sick like it did days after Brian had to go at it. Thought of the old bear makes Devon so angry that now he wishes the man was still alive. At least then there'd be a chance for him to try and knock out a few more of his teeth during the victim impact stint where they can tase him or whatever. Then stress continues to build as Cameron's condition remains unstable. Transfer was scheduled for November, and Devon is trying to type up an extremely apologetic and professional email to explain the situation, and also request a possible meeting to delay the transfer. It's a reasonable request, especially considering the state of the world at the moment. But then, seemingly out of nowhere, his breathing picks up speed. Confused, Devon watches it as the edges of his vision begin to... He can't figure out why, as he suddenly felt as if he was going to pass out. First thing that comes to Devon's mind was Arturo's older brother who died of a pulmonary embolism after surgery. The one the cat had talked about casually while even though Devon knew he was still devastated by it. Devon stands up from his desk, walking, then sinking to the ground as the room spins. Cam, I need help, please. I can't... Simultaneously questions whether it's a good idea or not. Cameron seeing his boyfriend die in front of him wouldn't exactly help his mental state, so it's better he's probably sleeping like a rock right now. Pulls out his phone as he's having on knees, having pressed the 9 and 1 before a very groggy, sedated Cameron comes in, his expression of very confusion turning to fear. Don't worry, I just can't fucking catch my breath. A look of recognition comes over the coyote's face, and kneeling in front of Devin, he presses the bear's head against his chest. Devin, it's okay, we're okay, breathe with me. Devin's not sure if that's what the problem is, but after a few seconds it does stop. Are you okay? I've never seen you like that before. Devin sees Cameron's neck twitch multiple times and immediately feels like an idiot. Still, Cameron sleeps on the couch in the same room, and while Devin feels like he should have been the one doing the comforting right now, he's glad to have Cameron there. Devin steps out of the gym, taking a deep breath of the frigid February air. There aren't many cars or people on the street this early on a Saturday morning. Probably because they're sleeping in like they should be. What? Devin instinctively begins to reach out to Cameron for Cameron's paw, but he's not there. He hasn't been there for a while now. Almost a year. Well, what he used to. It hurts even more because he's almost certain that Cameron would have loved this city. He'd do a better job remembering that Cameron isn't right next to him if... Quit thinking about me like I'm dead. I'm not. I'm thinking about you like you're physically gone. I do miss being physically present. I guess I could be dead, but it doesn't really matter. That is such a creepy word. Just say I'm like your passenger. By the way, you reek. Sarah and I don't have work. Besides, I'm taking a shower when their air conditioner, their dry temperature is room temperature. I mean, I didn't say I didn't like it. It's from a fresh workout. Evan grunts as he makes his way through the parking lot towards his car. You were pushing yourself really hard, to be honest. Take it easier next time. Taking it easy is what got you hurt. Anyway, the more echoes we can kill off, the better. I doubt we have much of an impact, Evan. This shit is old. Ancient even. It's a lot bigger than us in a lot of different ways. Just want to see how well this works out. If it can be done, maybe we can tell others about it. Start a movement. To kill off the haunted places at their source? But how many people have their dead boyfriend in their head giving them psychic abilities? Well, I won't tell them that part, just the psychic part. I'm gonna take credit for my abilities. Hey, I'm ready to fight too. You see how much I bulked up. Flexes the muscle underneath his winter coat and padding. Muscles he wishes he'd had when he fought Brian. I didn't know you could punch ghosts. I wish you get a better, different coach. He beats you on way too hard. Know what I was getting into. And they remembered the source. Usually it's some shitty person feeding these places. Anyway, exercise of any kind is the best feeling natural thing anyone can do. You should try. Devin catches himself halfway saying it. Even though he knows it's coming, even though he tries to stop it, the imagery of... He should just be happy that Cody is still talking to him. That he's still with him. Kind of. I miss you. Please don't do that, Devin. I'm right here. I want to hold you. You basically are, and I'm giving you a big emotional hug right now. I might also be feeling it. What's up nicely? Laughs and wipes his eyes. Thanks. Thanks, Cam. Cameron watches all of this, but not that Cameron is in Devin's head. Cameron that avoided the shotgun that survived. He's had these dreams a few times. First, he simply thought them to be traumatic nightmares from a traumatic event. But this is one of those dreams that feels so real he almost can't tell if he's dreaming. They're not really nightmares either. Usually they're mundane, kind of funny, and kind of sad. The dreaming Cameron, for some reason, doesn't trust this passenger Cameron at all. This version of himself feels off, almost like there isn't even a soul to go with him. Otherwise, he sounds and acts just like he does or did before the diagnosis. Makes him wonder if he'd trade off, given the opportunity. Cameron isn't waking up, so with little else to do, he reaches out mentally and digs into this other Cameron a bit deeper. What he sees lasts only a second. After tearing out Brian's throat, this Cameron immediately began communicating with him. But he began speaking to Devin shortly after the younger bear had ripped out Brian's throat. It's not an illness. Not like what Cameron has, but it's still Echo. It's part of that town, and Cameron doesn't want this Devin to... Devin, he's back. Feeling difficult to describe comes over Cameron. It's like something from that dead Cameron, that entity that acts and talks like Cameron. The thing that's currently attached to Devin. He's tied up, bound with a foul-tasting rope, gagging him. Big Bear's been gone for over an hour, but no matter how hard he tries, he can't make the zip ties and chains move. And then his stomach turns, and the meal that Brian had bought him at the bar starts to come back up. He's going to throw up, but he's chained down on a bat at his back with a gag in his mouth. He's gonna throw up and he's going to drown. Vomit floods his mouth. Cameron leaps out of bed, one paw over his muzzle. He stubs his toe horrifically on the door frame to the bathroom. Bah! That's happened to me. That is actually happened to me. I fucking hit my big toe so hard one time that my nail fucking broke in two. But he makes the toilet in time to retch a small amount of whatever it is in his stomach. His name was Alan. A rat, Cameron thinks, but the coyote can't remember the last name, the name of the man who drowned in his own vomit. Cameron sobs both for himself and for the poor young rat that lived a short, hard life, only for it to end by choking on the shitty food Brian lured him in with. For a minute, the coyote calms down and listens, thankful that Devin is an incredibly heavy sleeper. Why are we on it? No, no, no. That had definitely happened, and even though the police stopped trying to interview him after learning about his schizophrenia diagnosis, he put in an anonymous tip. Cameron knows there's at least twice as many victims that are known, and he plans to report every single one that he sees. That summer 2021. Fucking... Half a year later, Cameron finally starts to feel as if he can go out and at least live a partial life. Tapering down his meds along with exercise definitely helped. Which is why he came here with Devin to visit Arturo. When he sees his old friend, he feels a bit better just based on the feel of his amalgamation. Its Fuller is still damaged, but it's also at peace. Cameron knows that feeling. He's different now, and he's accepted that. But he's still Arturo, which he's come to accept too. He's just different now. Changed like everyone changes. Terrible, dramatic change, but that's life. Things always tend to get worse, but then they tend to get better too. Well, Cameron simply wants to see his old friend. He also wants to know a few other things. His methods are morally questionable, but he justifies it since no one's telling him. An hour before they get there, Cameron eats a piece of chocolate from his backpack he brought from their stay at the motel. Don't fucking tell me. No. Devin complains when Cameron says it was the last one, but the coyote knows the bear would lose his mind if he... I fucking knew it. Why are you doing this, Cam? Why? Which was him, Why? Stupid idiot, idiotic, unbelievable when it could cause him severe lasting damage. It might have been what triggered his schizophrenia, but his abilities increased tenfold even on this tiny amount. Besides, it made him feel better. Of course I'll tell Devin more time has passed, but the bear has shown absolutely zero interest in the program as of late. What the fuck are you doing, Cam? Maybe you'll just... That's no better. You shouldn't... For the moon... For now, he just wants to take in the emotions and conversation. What the fuck was your voice? Well, what I've been trying to do is get rid of this damn limp. That's what most people notice most. Cameron smiles pleasantly despite the fact that Arturo is more guarded and mentally fortified mentally than anyone he's met, which is probably the last thing he'd expected. I actually didn't even notice. Oh, well, you will next time you see me walk, anytime I... Anyway, here you're working on your masters, Devin. Every stutter, every struggle feels like a physical blow to Cameron, but he tries not to show it. He knows Artie doesn't want useless pity right now, and Cameron always hated it too. Yeah, but the University of Deseret. Sweet, and what? Mechatronics, robotics. Of course, and how's that progressing? Good, about a year in. Damn, I saw it. If I should agree that quick. At this same company, it was always the plan once we moved. I still gotta graduate for them to reimburse my tuition, of course. No pressure. I don't know how he does it all. Work, school, cooking, gaming, and you're good at all of it. It's just like him. He party and drink the night before and find out the night it will hungover. Cameron had close enough to Devin to see the skin flush under his fur. And some might find Devin to be overly humble. It has more to do with imposter syndrome. God damn it. Cameron knows it must be awkward to be praised for not having to study or work as hard as his fellow students and co-workers. Despite that, Cameron still feels proud knowing his boyfriend has already gained into a leadership position. How are things going for you? What are you doing these days? Weren't you thinking about going back to work at that specialized school? Yep. Spectrum Solution. Section County. Already back. Still on RBT, working with kids with low functioning autism. That is a really hard job. I respect the fucking shit out of him for that. How is it? Great, it's almost like going back home. I'm supposed to have like 2 clients, but they got 5 on me now. And we're so happy to see me, but then I can tell something's a bit off about me, though. Sounds a bit rough. Is your recovery still making progress? where he visibly draws into himself a bit. I like to call it a process these days, but most of the recovery's over, I think. Oh, I see. It sounded a second too long. Cameron's a bit slow to respond, having finally deciphered Artie's general thoughts, feelings, and emotions. In that moment, that guard had come down, and Cameron realizes Artie knows he's psychic. Of course, he told him that, but now he knows it. Truly believes it, and for the past almost 2 years, he's realized how much of this happened because of Cameron. Arturo is afraid of Cameron. The cat senses the strangeness, the offness of who Cameron is now. Arturo almost wonders if it's possible that Cody brought a piece of Echo into the house with him. That shadow entity had entered him and never came back out as far as Arturo knows. Who's to say it's not still? Maybe it's like a management phase, that's what Cam called it anyway, right honey? Devin, probably confused by the tension, tried to add more to conversation. That's right, that piece of shit hurt you pretty badly too. Yeah, really, it's the schizophrenia I was diagnosed with afterwards that I'm still trying to manage. Cameron suddenly decides to tell Arturo about his own struggles, if only to look for some sympathy and understanding. Seems unfair not to, for some reason. Anyway, for a moment Arturo's expression becomes one of genuine sadness. Oh, I'm really, really sorry to hear that, Cameron. Was it what happened? I hope it wasn't the way. No, I think it's happened after that pushed me over the edge. I see, did that make sense? Do they think it would have happened anyway eventually? Cameron shrugs. Maybe. They think I might have been in a prodromal state for years. It's obvious I was on the brink for a while. But I'll never know. For that moment, though, he feels like he and Artie have made a connection. Artie understands that they have completely different problems, but they're both life-changing. And the two of them are bound to these problems for life. Cameron will also never be the same. He has a lifetime of struggle ahead of him, but then Artie senses that darkness, that bit of echo emanate from Cameron again, and he mentally recoils. Been a rough road, but we managed to find some stability at the end of last year. God, it's such a pain in the ass trying to settle on the right meds. It took Maria a few years, I think. Hey, Maria. There's some rustling from the hallway, and young leopard comes in the living room. Maria clearly has been very nearby in the hall. Why'd you go? Just wanted to give you guys some space. We're just talking about long as into just a med, and you can give him advice again. She leans in to give Arturo a kiss, and Arturo takes it with a single hit of embarrassment or annoyance. Another solid rock in Artie's life, and one that will stay until the end. Well, Cameron would normally never invade someone's mind like this, that Cody doubts will have any chances to do so in the future, and needs to know if Artie's on a good track or not. Cameron feels another pang of guilt, remembering how Devin would kiss him in public on the campus of their old university. Even there, probably the most liberal place in the state, he was ashamed. Maria turns to Cameron because they themselves have been friends for years, even a little longer than he's known Devin, so we can tell that this is weirdly set up. Oh yeah, antidepressants, antipsychotics, mood stabilizers. Feels like I've been through almost all of them. I hate them so much. They make me so tired and restless at the same time. Like I want to crawl to my fur, and then I feel like a zombie for a while, and after they lower it, I'm doing better. Cameron likes Maria a lot, and just like Devin and Arturo, they slip back into the old swing of things. It's nice, but he can't help but notice how he's been swept out of the conversation with Arturo. Anyway, the main reason I went back to work this early is because I need something normal. Sure, things are hot in the house. Stuttering and memory is shit. Can't really depend on the right side of my body anymore. Fuck is it nice not being cooped up here living on disability. They do some inhibitions are a bit lower than they used to be. Swear I'm not trying to be a dick, but I haven't even noticed that. Oh yeah, they said something about too many words, too little tact like 3 years ago. The conversation returns to a natural, comfortable flow, but only after Cameron has left the conversation again. I can kind of tell it might be affecting you now, but sometimes it's hard to tell the side effects from symptom psychosis, especially the residual negative symptoms. I mean, positive symptoms are obvious, making your thoughts flow normally again, making yourself want to go back outside, talk to people, live. It tends to come back last, and sometimes it comes back a bit different. Sometimes it doesn't come back at all. Now, while he tries to hold a conversation about psychotropic medications with Maria, he realizes how much things have changed. In fact, if Cameron's visions hold true, this will be one of the last of a handful of times he'll speak to Artie. It hurts. It fills Cameron. Leaves Cameron feeling a deep pit of guilt, shame, and even a little anger, but mostly because it's unfair and he can't blame anyone. But as he watches his old friend laugh and talk to Dev almost like what happened never happened, Cameron sees a long, solid friendship ahead of him, and he's happy for that. Artie starts talking to Dev again, and Cameron realizes, even without having to read minds, that Maria is specifically there to keep Cameron distracted, to keep him away from Arturo. That finally shuts up the psychic part of Cameron's brain. Rather than leaving a hollow feeling, he's left feeling like he's been punched. Why are they treating him like a monster? Like he's the one. The final thought he receives is from Maria, and deep down, under her concern for Cameron's diagnosis, she's wondering if he's prodding at Arturo's mind. Arturo can sense him. His own sensitivity is subtle, almost too understood to be picked up on, but it's there. And that's why he feels like Cameron is carrying Echo with him. That feeling. Does that mean his abilities are from the same source as Echo? Did something else happen? But then Maria mentioned something about motor tics and nearly unbearable restlessness, and Cameron focuses back on their conversation. The reason he'll only ever see Arturo 2 or 3 more times in his life isn't because of Arturo and Maria. It's because Cameron knows he can't come back here and cause them stress like this. Cameron is no longer part of or welcome in their lives, and he won't impose himself again. The shame of being caught, even though he hadn't really been caught, hangs heavy over the rest of the visit. No one else seems to notice, though, and despite the hurt from learning their true feelings about him, Arturo's future is, if he had to sum it up, a happy one. Oh, jeez, Winter. March 2023, okay. We're finally in the end of the year, okay. Time goes on, and it brings good and it brings bad. The pandemic falls into the background. Political instability comes to the forefront. Money becomes tighter, but the world keeps moving as it tends to do. Still leaves Devin almost breathless at the idea that he changed their lives in one weekend. Well, Devin has never really personally hated anyone to the point he just wanted to hurt them. He does now, but that person is dead. He got the easy way out. For the first year, Devin wasn't sure how he'd continue his life. Cameron was either always sedated to the point of almost becoming unresponsive, or angry and sad to the point that he'd just sit in the bathroom and cry. The feeling of helplessness, of knowing that Cameron wanted to be dead, that he'd given up so much that he would told the man to take opioids again if he could. So Steph started doing things he didn't want to do. Checking Cameron's drawers, pockets, and his side of the closet when he wasn't around. He's angry at the medical professionals who sent Cameron home because he simply had intrusive thoughts. This had relieved Cameron, but Devin wasn't sure. In fact, he knew it wasn't right, but Cameron was so happy about it, it seemed to stop the episode. Then over the next 2 days, he was in a deep psychotic state. His intrusive thoughts were actually thought insertions, and by the time they got back to the hospital, he was screaming that he was actually dead. He accused Devon of planting speakers in the walls and cameras in the mirror, which he shattered. Over that first month, it was normal to see Cameron sitting up in bed, brushing away non-existent bugs. But that's 2 years behind them now, and Cameron is finally starting to really live. Become someone who enjoys life again. Because while the positive symptoms of delusions, hallucinations, and depersonalization have been practically absent over the past year, the negative symptoms lingered. Devon had read about that over and over again. Lack of motivation, lack of interest in things that once gave pleasure, lack of expressive emotions, and lack of moments of confusion is organized thought. It was the anhedonia that scared Cameron the most. It scared Cameron too, because what's a life worth living if you don't want to do the things you trained and aspired to do most of your life? Despite listening to music again, Cameron decided a few months ago to finally hang up his guitar. Cameron's paw was still weak and would have a slight tremor if he held it up. But Cameron hadn't touched his keyboard either, left it unplugged and dusty in the basement. The sight made Devon far more sad than it did Cameron. He still wonders if he'd been more of an advocate for Cameron, maybe pushed for further observation, they could have stopped the psychosis before it truly spiraled. Maybe he'd be back to his old self. What's wrong? You read my mind again. No, I can read your face. Devon doesn't want to bring down Cameron's mood. He's the one that wanted to come out and walk around in the snow, and if Cameron wants to do something engage in active, Devon will do it with him. It is strange they got so much of it in March, and it probably would be the last snowfall. Just realizing how out of shape I am. You know, I'm starting to get a gut like a bad one. Aren't you on the thinner side for a bear nearing his 30s? Cameron makes a point of looking at Devon's midsection and prods through it, making the bear huff. Oh, it is kind of squishy. Devon blushes. Oh, my surprise. You just got done saying I wasn't fat. You're not fat, you're a bear. I just didn't think I'd feel the punch through your coat. Devon tries again. As expected, Devon is tensed up and there's a little squishing to be at this time. I'll sit down. Devon brushes snow off a bench for them. Hey, I hope I'm not annoying you. Devon closes his eyes in guilt, taking a deep breath. No, I'm just worried about different things. I had to be out here with you. It's good for my gut anyway. Cameron rolls his eyes as they sit down. I'm getting chubbier too, you know it happens, and I love your body. If you want to fool around tonight, I can have a closer look. Cameron leans against Devon's shoulder. Only if we have a look at you too. Deal, and if we deem each other too chubby, we can go on a diet or something. Devon finds it strange that Cameron is the one usually cheering it up now. Cody's worried about him, which Devon wishes he wouldn't be. Still, it makes him feel warm inside, and he leans in to muzzle Cameron. Kisses the Cody, he realizes this is a good moment in his life. Day he'll look back on fondly. Day he'll look back on for comfort when the harder days inevitably arrive. Devon glances up at the temple they're sitting across the street from. I always wonder what the little golden dude with the stick is doing up there. It takes Cameron a few seconds to understand what Devon is talking about. Cutting on top of the Mormon temples, that's the Angel Baroni. He buried the gold plates. How do you know that? Some Mormon friends told me. How do I know it? Okay, I've studied so many fucking different religions and so many different sects of Christianity, it's kind of ridiculous for an atheist to do it, whatever. I've done a lot of research into that sort of stuff. Oh, Cody the bull. Yeah, they're about converting. If they ever became okay with this. Cameron leans close to Devin again. Devin smiles and hold each other for a while. Something's on Cameron's mind though, and Devin knows how to wait until the canine is ready. Devin, did you ever find what you were looking for? Devin immediately knows what Cameron's referring to, and it makes his stomach twist into knots. I'll only bring this up once, but I keep thinking about why I went there in the first place. I just wonder if you were able to, figure stuff out. Devin stares down at Cameron, and even though the Cody isn't intentionally pulling out Devin's cascade of failures into catastrophic failure, he feels it. Figure it out doesn't matter, isn't worth finding out, then I need to focus on us. Devin feels the tingles of tears in his eyes that forces it back. Figured out I made a huge mistake. Deeply hurt my friends. Brian hurt us. Cameron says it instantly. You just don't seem as happy or outgoing as you used to be, I know. You're really busy with work, and you just got your master's, which is so cool, but you seem... It's like you said, we change. It's not really a divide, right? It's like chapters in our lives. We change with each one, and the last one we went through was brutal. Yeah, nothing stays the same. We don't fully recover or become who we used to be. We all want to go back to how it used to be. Devin feels a deep twinge in his chest, thinking about what life would be now if he just made the right turn. It's like they say how you can never go home again. Because home isn't just a place, but it's people. And it's at a certain time. And when it ends, it ends. Baby, I love you so much, and I know it sounds dumb as hell, but I can be your home and I'll be around as long as you want me to be, so you can always go home. I always will. You're the only home I've got, but you know it's sweet. I sense a lot from that temple. And I've sensed it on other places too, like those little shops when you see mediums and psychics. Feels like it's sucking energy like a portal. What do you think that means? I guess that there's hope for everyone. Peta, Artie, you and me, then that maybe instead of nothing, there's Devin overwhelmed with grief, happiness, love, and loss, kisses Cameron. They kiss for a long time, and Devin desperately hopes his Cameron is right, because more than anything, he wants to start fresh and do it again. For now, though, he's here with his husband, sitting and watching the snow fall silently, and that's okay. Because whether they disappear forever or go somewhere else, it'll be together. Devin feels a little hope reignite in his chest. There might be something. There might be nothing. But he's content to wait and find out. But that'll be a long ways away, he's sure. Not until they're 110 after all. I'm just gonna let this play. I'm just gonna let the credits play because I want to give these people the credit that they deserve, because holy shit. I, I don't know what to even think right now. I gotta be honest. Alright, so that was the end of Arches, everybody. That was the final story update of the sequel to Echo. I really can't think right now. I gotta be honest. And I mean, I liked it a lot. I'm just really not in the right state of mind to give my thoughts on this VN right now. And I guess I'll have to rewatch my playthrough of it possibly to be able to fully get my thoughts in order. And I'll do a separate video where I give my thoughts on the full game. Because right now I'm too fucked up in the emotions, and I don't know how I can possibly critically dissect this right now. So thank you for watching. It is currently 2:43 p.m. on April the 25th, 2023. Thank you for watching. Bye.